Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you today with an article from The Federalist. This is dated August 13th, and it says, Leftists, victimhood, and narcissism are two self-obsessed sides of the same coin, because I can read properly. So it says, if you think you're the victim, even when things are going well for you, then you're obviously spending too much time thinking about yourself. So it's always good to dig into the leftist mindset, so let's get into it. It says, what do you get when you marry victimhood and narcissistic self-worship? Today's woke ideologue journalist. So yeah, we're going to be shitting all over journalists today, which is something I like to do. It says, it is left-wing journalists resting upon their precarious perch in corporate legacy media who, despite admittedly declining wealth and influence, believe they are actually victims worthy of America's sympathy and support. Well, I mean, maybe if you got things wrong and apologize for it, that's one thing. But when you get things wrong on a near constant basis and it only goes in one direction and you never apologize for it, all you deserve is scorn. Because they are oppressed, beleaguered heroes keeping the fires of truth burning in these dark days of reinvigorated conservative cultural and political dominance, waging a fearless battle against patriarchy and racism. Sounds exciting. Says they also happen to have sufficient wealth and free time to indulge in some of the priciest and most self-absorbed activities that define our digital age. One need look no further than a recent column by the Washington Post's Karen Attiah to observe the paradox, and I believe that's who is this person here in the photo. And I've seen her name before, and she is a far left nut job, to put it mildly. And you probably knew that because she works at the Washington Post. So it says, WAPO columnist weds victimhood and self-worship. So Attiah presents the perfect example of how the contemporary obsession with victimhood and self-absorption are actually one and the same thing. Her op-ed begins by talking about how much she hated being skinny. Yes, because that's awful. Hell, I'd love to have been skinny at some point in my life. As a teenager, she claims she was subject to stereotypes about underfed Africans. I almost read that as underfed Africans. I was about to say, what the hell does underfed mean? So it's underfed Africans. She yearned to be strong so she could be a threat to the gender system. Yes, because that's what you're thinking of at that age, is that you want to be a threat to the gender system. So I'm going to take things that didn't happen for $2,000, Alex. This is when Attiah began working out at a gym post-COVID, she started to put on muscle. Okay, nothing wrong there. She admits her physical labor was motivated by a vain desire to improve her body. Well, people do that for that reason. I don't necessarily think that's a bad outlook to have. Attiah is obviously proud to be strong. Between the print and web versions of the article, there are 3 different photos of her showing off her body in the gym. She brags about winning a silver medal at the 2021 USA Muay Thai Open. Okay, so good for her. That's a good thing. So she calls lifting an act of resistance and declares it how we build the power to birth a better world. How is it if you're calling it an act of resistance in a sense that, resistance is how you build muscle, okay. But if you're saying it in the fighting the patriarchy way, you're just a dumbass. Because no, it quite literally is not in any possible way. So it says, yet despite her obvious flexing about her body, Attiah's article is also peppered with digressions about women's bodily and financial autonomy and how women are realizing that men are not unfailing providers and protectors. How women are realizing that men are not unfailing. Okay. So she complains about strangers squeezing her arms without asking, while random men demand to arm wrestle or suggest fighting her. This is all the stereotypes that you hear about women that, would be more on the fit side, if you will. This doesn't seem like it's anything necessarily unique to her. And how many people, especially these days, are coming up to her and doing that? I'm guessing it's probably none. So, and if it is, don't do that. Don't do that to anybody. Okay, that's that doesn't make people feel very comfortable. So she's even apparently threatened not only by conservative women, but by women who want to get pregnant. Yes, because that's a horrible thing. We don't want more babies on this planet. Oh no. Says that the editors at the Washington Post didn't perceive the bizarre hypocrisy in this piece demonstrates how little they have learned despite their recent shakeup. Attiah is a self-described victim of a white supremacist and patriarchal American society. So again, your typical far leftist. Yet she also has sufficient money for gym memberships and vitamins and the time to gain 20 pounds of muscle. So, good on her for that. Did I mention she's a Washington Post columnist who has won awards for her journalism? Well, you just did. So as much of the elite class of journalists is like this. Said, if only Attiah were unique in her self-indulgence and fabricated sense of victimhood among the elite journalism class. Yet for liberal woke ideologues, this is arrestingly common. Indeed, one look no further than CBS late-night host Stephen Colbert, may he rest in peace, or his show, rest in peace, who was sought to play the victim regarding the cancellation of his show, which many have argued was an attempt to placate President Trump, who Colbert incessantly attacked with the vigor of the most liberal primetime pundit. Journalists across liberal legacy media claimed Trump and Republicans were waging war against the press, such as recent moves to defund the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a demonstrably liberal institution run by extremist ideologues such as Catherine Marr. And who could forget, I was wondering when her name would come up, cry bully Taylor Lorenz, formerly of the Washington Post, one of the probably worst human beings on the planet, and that's not really an exaggeration, who claims she suffered from PTSD because of online criticism. Oh no, people criticize you. Get over it. Move on with your life. Turn off the computer. It says, though Lorenz is a nationally known journalist, and yes, journalist deserves to be in scare quotes with her, with a national bestseller of a book, she also demands that everyone recognize her status as a victim, that I will not be doing. She's the kind of person that victimizes other people intentionally. Like, she's the person that doxed libs of TikTok. And then when people were calling her out for obvious shit behavior, she was, like, crying about it. She's not a victim. It says that she fawned over the assassin who brutally murdered United Healthcare CEO makes such behavior all the more bizarre and disturbing. Yeah, I made another one of my little clipped videos with her doing that with the CNN guy, Donnie O'Sullivan or whatever his name is, the Irish dude, where she's basically fawning over this guy, and it's her morals are about as backwards as a human being's morals could possibly be. She's not a good person. Excuse me, I'm not cutting that out either. I feel like I got a frog in my throat. This is why victimhood goes with narcissism. And I'm not cutting that out either. Because perhaps it's not all that surprising that narratives of both alleged victimhood and narcissism go together. If you believe you are a victim, even when things are going well for you, in the wealthiest and most successful country in the world, not cutting that out either, then you are obviously spending too much time thinking about yourself. The person who interprets everything through a lens of victimhood is already focused on the self and thus more prone to self-celebratory thoughts and behaviors. The more such people cycle down the drain of this narcissism, the more impervious they are to reality, lacking self-awareness to see themselves for what they often actually are, which is entitled. Scrolling down. That certainly seems to be the case with people like Atia, Colbert, and Lorenz, and I'd say a lot more of them as well, all wealthy and successful even by American standards. Lord knows how much time Atia spends in the gym, presumably a lot. Excuse me, that was a hiccup. Not cutting that out either. I'm doing a lot of bodily functions here. So she spends a lot of time in the gym, given she is also an amateur Muay Thai competitor, yet somehow she still sees her life as a healthy, successful journalist, as beholden to power structures that harm black females such as herself. So much so that she couldn't help but write a 1,700-word column showing off her gains in the gym. Is it any wonder why legacy media are continuing their long descent into irrelevance? I can't imagine writing 1,700 words about myself for any reason, even if it's like a foreword to a book. 1,700 words would be a lot for a foreword. I just can't imagine that. So there you go. We can stare at a picture of her. Not an unattractive woman at all, but her personality seems to be one of deep unattractiveness. So let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Crap on any other journalists you want to in the comments as well. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.